What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about time blocking. What is it, why you should use it, and how I go about using time blocking to stay organized, maximize productivity, and stop wasting time during the day. So what is time blocking? Time blocking, also known as time boxing, is a system of organizing chunks of time on your calendar in order to exclusively focus on one task type. Rather than focus on a list of tasks, which requires us to rapidly switch our modes of thinking, time blocking allows us to focus exclusively on one task type and ideally get more done in that period of time. I first learned about time blocking after watching a video by Thomas Frank on Elon Musk's time management system when I was trying to figure out how to crunch more homework time into a busy day. Doing a triple major and working close to 25 hours a week required a serious amount of time management on my part, and time blocking allowed me to schedule in the tasks and things that I needed to get done each week without having to stress out and stay up late every single night. So time boxing is effective for three main reasons. Since the goal of this time management system is to increase focus and decrease distractions, it naturally fights against the distractions that cause us to take multiple breaks and be interrupted when we're trying to work on a project. The second reason is the time pressure that it creates. Have you ever found that you work better or are more effective when there's a deadline approaching? Whether it's the upcoming deadline at work or a midterm just around the corner, these time pressures often cause us to study more effectively, work harder, stay up later, and put more effort into getting the things that we need to get done. The third reason that this system works is that humans are not effective multitaskers. By forcing our brains to switch between different types of assignments and different types of projects, and the interruptions that we have, whether it's from social media, text messages, phone calls, our bosses, and other people in our lives, this causes us to rapidly switch between what we're working on and distracts our focus away from the task at hand. Who is time blocking for? Time blocking is for everyone, but I do think that students have an inherent advantage due to their fixed weekly schedules. By having a fixed weekly schedule, it makes it more reasonable to be rigid with your schedule and schedule in consistent periods of study time and time to get homework assignments done. Now, even if you're not in school, you probably have a consistent work schedule and you know that you'll be working something like 9 to 5 every day. The problem with this is that during the day, you're not going to know exactly what you need to do every day. You may have different meetings come up, you may have different projects that you're working on, and every day is not going to be the same. The other problem with this is that you can't reasonably tell your boss you're going to talk to them in 2 hours when you've scheduled time to talk. If something urgent comes up, they're going to want you to talk with them now. Now, that being said, even if you're not a student, time blocking can be a great way to block off your time, but you need to be more reasonable with yourself about being flexible if things come up. Although time blocking seems like a great way to get more done, there are a few cons to time blocking. The first problem with time blocking is that it takes a considerable amount of time to plan everything out throughout the day, create a list of tasks, and do everything that you need to really make this system work for you. So number two is something that I touched on earlier, and it's the fact that it makes it difficult to be flexible when it comes to your calendar. Things come up throughout the day, emergencies, and things that you or other people will deem urgent and that you're going to have to take care of right away. This doesn't have to be a major issue though. All you have to do is spend a little extra time readjusting your calendar and making sure that everything fits after accounting for the thing that comes up. So the final downside of time blocking is that humans are inherently bad at estimating the time it takes to complete something. This is known as the planning fallacy. If you're going to implement calendar blocking, there are a few tools that you're going to need to use in order to make the process easier. So the first tool that I'm going to recommend is some kind of digital calendar. Personally, I like to use Google Calendar, but Apple Calendar or the native Android calendar would work just as well. While you could use a paper calendar, I would recommend against this because it creates difficulty when trying to move things around when things come up. The second app I recommend is a time tracking app like Toggl. Remember how I mentioned that humans are bad at accurately estimating the amount of time it takes to complete something? Well, an app like this helps you to figure out exactly how much time you spend on tasks. By doing this, you'll be able to get an idea of the tasks that take up the most time and potentially analyze them to determine how you could be more productive and more efficient when doing those tasks. The third app that I recommend is some kind of to-do list master tracker list. I've used Todoist in the past and I'm currently using Notion for this. And this is great because you want to be able to go through, write down all of your to-dos for the week or the month, or if you know assignments and deadlines are coming up. It allows you to make a list of the items that you need to complete before that and schedule them out so that you can be ready for that deadline. So when time blocking your own calendar, keep in mind being reasonable with the amount of time you're actually going to spend on things. If you end up saying you're going to study for 6 hours, but you know that you can't study for longer than 30 minutes, it's not actually going to be reasonable to say you're going to study for 6 hours straight. So now I'm going to walk you through time blocking a fresh Google Calendar for what my day looks like and touch on some of the things that I consider when setting aside these periods of time. What I like to do when I'm creating a new calendar blocking is to go in and actually add calendars that I can toggle on and off for each different aspect of my life. To do that, I'm going to go up here to settings, add calendar, create new calendar, and I'm going to call that Michael. And you can see that the Michael calendar is now down here as an option that we can toggle on and off. I'm going to go ahead and do that for every aspect of my life, and I will be right back. Now you can see that I've created calendars for work, my girlfriend's school schedule, health, which will be things like exercising, eating, just basic health stuff. Important dates like my dog's vet appointments, my anniversary, and everything like that. My calendar, my blog, and my YouTube calendar for putting out content, reminders and tasks, and those are going to be default. So the very first thing that I like to start with creating on my calendar is going to be the things that are non-negotiable. These are going to be things like work, if you have a school schedule, and you're pretty much going to know what time it's going to be every single day. So I know that I work from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day painting a house. So if you go to more options, you can create repeating events. And for me, this repeats Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's going to be under the calendar work, and I don't need a notification. All right, so automatically, because we created that recurring event, it's going to show up for all of those days. The next thing that I'm going to add for my work calendar is going to be the commute there and back. Okay, now that I have that in, I'm going to go ahead and add in my sleep. And now I get up at 4:45 every morning, and I try to get at least 6 or 7 hours. So if I'm planning for 7 hours, that means that I need to be going to bed by 9:45 p.m. I'm going to change this to 4:45 a.m. and we'll put sleep. All right, so we can see that that's showing up. The next thing that I'm going to add is going to be my morning and evening routines. I think it's important to have a morning routine when I wake up. And I know that that takes me about 30 minutes, but I'm going to give myself some cushion time in case I'm moving slow. And I'm going to go ahead and add my evening routine as well. So now that I've gone ahead and updated that, we can see when we're waking up, when we should be going to bed. The next thing that I'm going to add is 2.5 hours of studying for the CPA exam, because that's something that I'm doing every morning. So now that we have that added in, I'm going to go ahead and account for a break when I get home from work. And let's go ahead and make that break 1 hour long. So now that we have the breaks added in, I'm going to go ahead and factor in some additional work that I'm doing as a video editor for my friend's photography and wedding videography business. Now that we have that in there, I'm going to go ahead and account for making and eating dinner. And then from there, I'm going to spend the rest of this time working on my blog, my YouTube videos, and just working on the content that I want to create. The final thing that I want to go ahead and add in is some errands that I usually end up running on Sunday. And as for the rest of it, I'm going to go ahead and leave dinner and the other meals not scheduled, because Saturday and Sunday tend to be a little bit more spontaneous in these times. If you went ahead and followed along, you should now have a fully time-blocked calendar that you can use to start keeping yourself accountable for the time during the day and hopefully get more done on the tasks and assignments that you need to get done. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about the techniques that I use to prepare for and to execute in job interviews. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit that notification bell and keep an eye out for that video. Thank you and have a great day.